I'm Jason Waller here with Jason Waller Unleashed, and you are getting ready to watch an episode that was epic with my good friend Keaton Hoskins. That's right, the muscle, in his awesome badass house in Utah with his helicopter pad, his family, his dogs, everything. We talk about business, being an entrepreneur, trying to be a motivational speaker, a coach. Tune in. This is going to be epic. Bam! Super excited. Brought my services here to fucking Utah to see my dude, my brother, and hopefully one of my mentors here. Kenton, how you doing, brother?
What's up, dude? How are you?
Hey, this fucking view is unreal.
Thank you.
Now, people don't know the funny story of us getting here, though.
Yeah.
So the Uber driver took us on a fucking dirt road, and I believe we ended up on a path you're not supposed to drive on.
No.
In a little shitty car.
On a dirt road.
On a dirt road, on the mountain above your house. Right?
Yeah.
And I was nervous. He was backing out. I thought we were going to roll and die. And you're like, I can see you guys. You're fine. Come down.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about sliding down in my fucking cool ass shoes here, but I'm glad we fucking made it. And this is like, too bad we can't get the sunset, but oh my God.
You know what? We might get you the sunset. Maybe we'll get you some B-roll so that everybody can see the sunset.
That'll be nice, because this is fucking dope. Now, listen, we had a podcast come out recently, and we talked about some good points. I had some good feedback from people about learning some things, learning about you, opening businesses, overcoming challenges, learning about, being on TV and what that's like, and how you only made fucking $10,000 the whole damn thing. And people think when you're on TV, you're rich. No, you're rich by building businesses or building your brand and doing big things. But the video on that sucked. It was the internet or something. And so we talked about it, and I said, look, I'll come out there. We'll fucking do it up.
You jumped on a plane, man.
I did.
You jumped on and you came out.
I told you, man, I fucking don't talk about it. I fucking do it, right?
I love it.
And so I'm here, and you've got a couple big things happening in your life. You've got a huge event coming up that I want to bring up on the show. But first, I want to bring up again. You said, I think the number was 30 businesses that you've opened?
We're at 34 now. 34 businesses. I've either started, launched, or bought. But yeah, 34 companies.
What's been your best exit?
Man, that's a really good question. I don't...
You kiss and tell, right?
Yo, absolutely.
Okay.
Man, I'll tell you what my best exit's going to be. Recently I bought into Dirty Dough.
Yeah. Which by the way, I had the cookie. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Oh my God. Good.
We actually bought into that, but I would tell you that will be my best exit. That's going to be an absolute awesome setup for us. All of my companies, and we actually talked about this last on my podcast, all of my companies, I've never really done a company that's done over $10 million. So with that said, my exits are anywhere from, $250K to $3 or $4 million. It's never been something huge.
But you're looking for that now, huh?
I am. Now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser.
You're still a young man, 35.
I'm 35.
Make me feel old as fuck. I got grandkids.
But I have exited quite a few. I think I've sold 18 of those 35 companies. And I've closed some of those companies. Every company that I ever started has made money.
That's good.
Not every company has been wildly successful, but every one of them have made money. I've actually never had a failed quote unquote company. And some of them I still own. Even today, I operate 6 companies now. That's
busy considering you have your Limitless Society, which has how many members now?
We have over 1,000 members in Limitless.
1,000. So you're having to help mentor, coach, groom, uplift, elevate 1,000 people and run 6 companies. How the fuck do you do that?
So I tell people this all the time. The greatest piece of advice I've ever given somebody when you have multiple companies is you need to make sure that your infrastructure is set up and people are put in the right place to do the role.
Right.
Now, for me, even in Limitless Society, I have a CEO. I have a CEO in every one of my companies. So I'm not the guy that's in there doing the day-to-day. I'm lucky enough to be the captain at the helm that's making the call from 30,000 feet. Right. Most people, when they start a company, they do need to be in the day-to-day. They do need to be the CFO and the CMO and the CEO. But as soon as you possibly can, you want to get out and put the right person in that role. Because I will say this, I think a common denominator for entrepreneurs is you're real good at big picture stuff. You're real good at creating and inspiring and moving and pushing, but you're probably not the best at CPA and financials and marketing, and all of those little pieces. So find the people you can put in the roles to do those things. So I've essentially placed about 1 hour a week on each one of my companies. And that hour is usually me talking with my CEO of that company.
And then you go over problems. So I used to have, the company I ran before had 2,400 employees, 6 executives, and 33 directors.
Wow.
Right? And so I would get on an executive call twice a week where me and the other 5 would get on there. They would go over the State of the Union, what they had. And then we had a director's call that those executives, they had 2 director's calls a week, one with those executives, one where I would jump on and listen and say things or comment on things that I wanted to know or be involved in.
Yeah.
And it is hard as an entrepreneur, especially if you build a big, giant business. It's hard to let things go because naturally we're control freaks, right?
Yeah.
The listeners out there, the viewers out there, naturally they're like, this is my fucking baby. This is my life savings. This is what I do for a living. What am I going to do? I don't know if I trust that guy. I don't know. And what I learned, and it took me several years, so I'm glad you got it young, but it took me probably 4 or 5 years ago. So I was in my later 30s when I said, holy fuck, I've got to let some of this go.
Have to.
And empower other people, because I can't grow if I have to manage everything, and they can't grow if I'm covering them and the sun's not hitting them and they can't grow and shine.
Absolutely.
You agree?
100%. And you also can't micromanage people. I tell people, I will give you a rope. You either take a walk with it or you hang yourself with it. Yeah. You show me what your value is in my company and I will pay you, and it will be the greatest job of your life. But if you don't do what you supposedly say that you can, you'll also get fired quick.
The cookie was really good.
Good.
They named a cookie after you, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that real quick.
So what we do at Dirty Dough is every single week, most people are very familiar with the crumble model.
I am. That's the one crumble. I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Essentially, Dirty Dough is the same type of model where you go into the store and you buy cookies, and every single week you have a different variety of a cookie. And then for the ones that are, the staple cookie, which is chocolate chip or peanut butter, we keep those, and every single month I think we rotate with different flavors and different things. Well, when I came on, I said, listen, I'm a huge fan of bodybuilding, I'm a huge fan of weightlifting, and I know that when I have my cheat meals, they're bad, but I want to have a lot of protein. So I came out with a cookie that was 25-30 grams of protein. Now, you asked me when I gave it to you, is it healthy? I said, absolutely not. But for those who are interested, if they want to have a good cheat meal and have it high in protein, this is a great option. And it's delicious.
It was fucking delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, the cookie was like that damn big, dude.
Yeah, they're big.
And I think I only left like that much left.
Yeah, you did
I was
good.
like, I don't even need dinner. I don't get dinner. I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of cookie, right? But hey, I was starving too, bouncing around and going up the fucking mountain. I was starving. So listen, I've been picking your brain, and I appreciate you telling me this. And I'm a big fan of people leaving their egos to the side.
Absolutely.
When you hear somebody's story, anybody's story, everybody's got their accomplishments that they've had and their struggles that they've had. And everybody's got things that they're great at and things that they're not so great at. And I believe in community, and I believe in learning from other people, regardless of their position, age, or any of that stuff. And so me here also today picking your brain about, because I've got my BAM, my Battlefield Attitude Mastermind that I'm building out with the one-on-one coaching and the group coaching. And I'm picking your brain and some others, but really I'm intrigued by yours the most because we're similar. We both are entrepreneurs. Yeah. We both built big, you built a shit ton of companies. I built a couple big companies. And so to hear your story, and I want you to share it here with the listeners, of how you were able to really get into this game and realize that, hey, it's fulfilling to you, it's empowering to you, it's exciting to you, and it's a good business. And how you've grown it, it's inspired me to go, fuck, well, that's pretty much the blueprint. I'm a big believer of you see somebody do something, you go, how can I piggyback off that or learn from them or ask, how can I get to that point? And everybody has their own little different journey. Yeah. But to see you go from that to what you're doing now, I mean, we were talking today, our favorite speaker, and no offense to anybody else, because we both love Ed Milet and all the other guys, but it's E.T. Yeah. Like, E.T.'s always the one, if I fucking wanted to get my fucking shit going, and shout out to you, E, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I would listen to him. And, he's a friend of mine. I can text him. We talk all the time. And you've got all the largest speakers, including him, and you get to see him speak. It's like to see and hear that journey from you to start this coaching. I want you to talk a little bit about what you told me earlier to the point now to where this is one of your biggest businesses.
Yeah. So, from the time I was 21, my father passed away when I was 21, and he used to drill into us. There was 5 kids. He used to drill into us, go to school, get your education, start a 401k, and do the 9 to 5, and then retire at 65, and then live your life from 65 till you die. And when he passed away, everything he taught was bullshit. There was no safety in anything that he did. So I knew from that day moving forward, I was never going to be able to sell on somebody else's ship.
Yeah.
So I made a decision that I ultimately would either sink on my own, but I would never sell on anybody else's, but I could not work for anyone ever. And so from the age of 21 until now, I was like, you know what? I got to do this. There's no other options for me. So I started company after company after company. And about a year ago, actually exactly a year ago, it's been to this month, we started a year ago, I sat down and I said, you know what? I was actually sitting on that couch right there with my wife. And I said, I want to do something with more meaning. I want to actually get into people's lives and show them how easy it is to accomplish that which they desire. I think most of what people see is limitation after limitation after limitation. And I've never known limitation. I have a helicopter. I don't even have a helicopter license. I don't believe in limitations. And so I sat down with her and I just said, you know what? I think I want to start showing people how to grow and build anything they want in life. And that should start with companies, because the American dream is to work for yourself and make a ton of money and have a ton of time. So I put together this idea that I wanted to make 25 millionaires. That was my idea. I was like, I'm going to make 25 millionaires. And so without even thinking, I got on my social media and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make 25 millionaires this year. And that was it. That's all I posted. And it went like wildfire. Everybody's like, what do you mean? Because everybody had seen the success that I had up to that point in my life. So I had thousands and thousands and thousands of messages. And again, the next night I sat down and I thought, I think this is something that I want to do. I want to mentor. I want to coach people. So I put together this idea that I was going to do coaching. I had a really good friend, Sean Whalen from Lions Not Sheep, and an even better friend, Rob Bailey. He has a coaching group called CCV. Both of them were like, bro, it's time. Like, this is it for you. You've started enough companies. You've made enough money. You've done a lot of things. It's time for you to show the world how they can do that.
Right.
So I decided I was going to start a coaching group where I was going to mentor people on how to make money, how to become successful, how to find happiness, to do everything that they should be doing.
Yeah.
And I sat again on that couch and I thought, what am I going to name it? What am I going to call it? And all I could come up with was the fact that I don't believe in limitations. So why not call it Limitless Society? Why not teach people that they actually are limitless in every aspect of their life? Anything that they want and can think, if they can conceive it and believe it, they'll achieve it. We've all heard that quote. Yeah. So I started, and the first month I had 400 or 500 people sign up. And I didn't even know what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to coach somehow on a weekly basis with these people. So we put together a Zoom call and I said, you know what? Every week I'm going to teach. Every single week it's going to be a different topic. I'm going to do a personal development call and then I'm going to do a business call. Really simple. So we started and we launched, and I was about 4 months in and we had about 500-600 members. And I thought, you know what? I need to get down and dirty with some of these guys. Like, I need to start doing some one-on-one mentoring.
Right.
So I opened up my schedule and said, I'm going to start doing one-on-one mentoring. I'm going to take people from where they're at and I'm going to 10X whatever the fuck they're doing. I don't care if you do 100 grand, we're going to do $1 million. You do 10 million, we're going to do 100 million. Whatever it is, I'm going to help you figure out how to 10X whatever you're doing. So we started doing mentoring one-on-one and my schedule swamped itself.
Yeah.
And then I decided, you know what? Like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm always going to own companies. I'm always going to start companies. I'm probably going to sell some companies. But at the end of the day, all of that means very, very little to me, to the fact that I now have a mentoring group where I can help people literally change the entire aspect of their life and their children's lives and their grandchildren's lives by actually creating real wealth and becoming what they want. Yeah. Which most people don't, they never do.
You unpacked a lot of stuff there I want to talk about. So the first thing is, I love the name Limitless Society. I think that's awesome. And the fact that you're sitting there with your best friend and your wife, right?
Yeah.
And coming up with a name is awesome. The fact that you had other people around you that are elevating you, saying, hey, it's time, right? It's important to surround yourself with people who believe in you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people out there, listeners out there, viewers out there, they don't. They surround themselves with people who are going to judge them from afar. You're going to do what? How's that going to fucking work?
Yeah.
Like I've heard that even from my own family, bro, where I opened my first business, home security. How the fuck are you going to do that? When I opened the solar company after 2 successful security companies, and they're like, fucking solar, are you serious, right? So I get it. And I've been on that other side, and I've been on the side where people believe in me. Yeah. And they're like, hey, you can do this. And I think that's important, because it doesn't matter who you are. You need to surround yourself with people who can give you those affirmations sometimes. And not that you need it to succeed, but it sure does fucking help.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that, you go from that, you get these people that you're inspired to make 25 millionaires, and you're always still going to open up businesses, you're always going to sell business, but you said something, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
There's no end on this. You love touching all these people and making a difference in their life. And you've got a huge event that you're getting ready to launch.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So I decided when we launched Limitless Society, I didn't want to just coach. I wanted to bring the best coaches and mentors and teachers and educators from all over the world to help those people in my group. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing events. And in these events, I'm going to bring so much value that it doesn't make sense not to be in Limitless Society. So I started launching events and doing these events. I crazy enough, I got in touch with the best people in the world. Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, Tony Robbins, Tim Grover, David Goggins, all of these big names, and said, you know what, I want you to come speak, and I want you to teach the people in Limitless Society, and I might as well open this up to the public. So I started doing these events, and my next event, September 23rd, is going to be here in Utah. We actually have the biggest arena that Utah has. I think it's like a 14,000 seat arena. And I'm going to be bringing the craziest people to the event to teach everything that has to do with personal development and business development, entrepreneurial development, that can help people get from where they're at to where they want to be. And I'm going to be doing these events probably every quarter for the rest of my life.
I love that. It inspires me. I'm like, damn, dude, I want to do an event where I can bring these guys in. I was sitting here picking your brain like, holy shit. And some of these guys, they do this because they love you.
Yeah.
They do this because of their relationship with you.
Yeah.
And that's important to know. That you said something earlier when we were talking, everything's about relationships for you. Yeah. Everything, it's not about the dollars or the cents, which is always nice. Like, you have to make money to give back.
Absolutely.
You have to make money to create opportunity. You have to make money to create jobs. Like, that's how this world works. So don't mistake that money's never involved. Money's always has to play a part in order to give back and do things.
Yeah.
But you talked about relationships, and I think too many times people burn the bridge, or people only look out for themselves. And I can tell you're genuine, you're real, you're about relationships. You mentioned something that you do for people and then they do for you. It's called having each other's back, being loyal to each other, growing. Talk a little bit about that.
I think the greatest thing that someone can do or cultivate if they have very little skill is your ability to network with people and do it in a way that you add value to those people. Most people think that networking is shaking a ton of hands and meeting as many people as possible, and that's the biggest bunch of bullshit that is sold in any community. Network, just go meet everybody. That's bullshit. If you can show up at a networking, quote unquote, networking event and shake hands with people and offer real value to them, and everybody has different value, you bring real value to the table and offer it to them. That is networking. And the more often you can do that, the more doors get open for you. And all I've done is I've taken what I do and created more and more value, so that when I meet people like yourself, like Ed Milet, like Andy Frisella, any of these people, Logan Paul, who I spent time with last week, and bring something to them that they've never had, which is, I'm not asking for anything. I want to bring value to you.
Right.
That changes in their eyes their perspective of me and their relationship with me, and then it makes it so they would like to have a relationship with me, which most people don't. When I go to a networking event and everybody's asking me, can I do this with you? Can I do this with you? How can I get this from you? And the one person that shows up and says, hey man, I run this and this is what I do, and I would love to be able to do it for you. I don't need anything from you. I just want to add value to your life. Guess what? That's the person I remember at the event.
Right.
Most people are not willing to cultivate their value.
They don't want to give.
They want to take and they don't want to give. But if you'll cultivate your own value and then bring that value to the table, the way you network with people will go through the roof.
No, I agree 1,000%. It's funny you say that, people just go in and shake hands. And I was at this golf event recently, and everybody was golfing, all the celebrities and shit. It was a Calvin Johnson event, and people were there. We sponsored a hole. I golfed. I hit the club one time, and it was really for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
I was there trying to shake hands, saying, here's how I can help you. How can I serve you? And do things, talking to people, because they were asking, what's BAM? What's this about? A lot of them recognized me from the TV commercials and all over the billboards for solar.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, you good? Because, the way that thing crashed. I'm like, watch out. Yeah, I'm good. But I sat there and thought to myself, I don't want to be one of those people that are just shaking hands. I want to make sure they remember me, that I tell them, hey, if there's anything I can do to serve you or help you, here's my experience wherever you are in your life or your business. And I was doing that, and that was huge for me.
Yeah.
And then when we were at the 10th hole, we went and hit the thing. And so I just recently, this was 2 weeks ago, I was sitting there thinking about when people waste their time. I watched all these people pay for holes, sponsor, and all they did is just shake hands and walk the fuck away. I'm like, what are you doing? You could have probably added value to that guy and vice versa, and you missed your opportunity. Yeah. You don't get many opportunities to connect with people to where it can be beneficial for both people. Absolutely. And it's got to be beneficial. Every relationship is beneficial, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's marriage. Everything is beneficial. Even with your kids, it's beneficial. You're teaching them something. They're bringing you joy.
Absolutely.
Right? And so people just have to understand that a little bit more. And in the world we live in today, and I don't have to tell you this, it's all about blame, 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 give me, give me, give me.
That's 100% the culture that we're in right now. And that's why I tell people, if you can switch in your mind that you want every interaction to be mutually beneficial, you will change the course of your life. If every interaction you have in your mind is set up to be mutually beneficial, meaning you don't go into it unless it will be mutually beneficial, you'll change every single interaction. Because the majority, and when I say the majority, I mean high percentage, all people are doing is going out and looking out for number one. They're only looking out for themselves. What can I take? What can I have? What can I get? It's never, what can I give? A really good example, I've created a really great relationship with the Jake and Logan Paul. And last week they got a hold of us and said, hey, we want to jump out of your helicopter. I said, totally fine. Let's do it, man. It's going to be 2 days of straight jumping out of the helicopter, going up and down. We jumped, I think, 18 times, right? And dude, that cost me a lot of money. I mean, it cost me $1,400 an hour to run a helicopter. After we had done all of that, I knew that they were going to head back. I actually ended up going to Lake Powell. I said to him, hey, what are you guys doing? What's your plans? And he said, well, we're going to go back to Salt Lake and hang out at the hotel, and then we're going to fly back to Puerto Rico. And I said, why don't you guys go up to my house? I'm going to send my doctor up there, and he's going to give you guys stem cells. I know you guys love stem cells. He's going to give you stem cells. So that's what I did. I left. I went down to Lake Powell. I had my doctor up here waiting for them. As soon as they got here, he gave them stem cells. He took care of everything they needed, and then they hung out here until their flight. So they ate, did their whole thing. I got a text from Logan literally 2 days later. He said, you know what, man? I just got to tell you, I really, really appreciate everything you did for me this weekend. You didn't ask for one thing, and it really, really means a lot to me. So guess what? Logan remembers me not as somebody who's taking, not as somebody who's looking out for myself, but for maybe one of the only people he knows in his life that was like, no, man, what can I do for you and how can I help you? That was it.
That's awesome.
And that is how you create relationships. As you step to the table, this is what I can bring you, and from there, let's see what's mutually beneficial.
So don't blame me here. Explain stem cell.
Because
I take IVs all the time.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, dude, you got to get on stem cells.
Yeah.
What the fuck is
stem
stem
cells? Essentially, I mean, obviously I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but stem cells come from umbilical cords from babies, right? So they're donated. In the U.S., you can't buy them. They have to be donated. So you can go to a hospital and say, hey, if you're not going to do anything with your umbilical cord, we would love to have it. You take it. They take it to a facility where they create stem cells. It's the most... what's the word? Most nutritious...
nourishing?
Yeah, nourishing. That's a good word. It's the most nutritious nourishing, nutritional thing that actually regenerates cells in your body. So for example, let's say you have a really bad MCL or shoulder, or you have a torn pec or something. You can place stem cells in there and it will regenerate it. So stem cells are a regenerative property that will regenerate cells in your own body.
You sound like a fucking doctor to me.
Well, I've done enough research about stem cells, but essentially it's what creates a baby, right? It's what creates a human being. Well, as we get old, we lose stem cells.
Do you do stem cells a lot?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do them every 3 months.
I gotta fucking do
They're the best thing in the whole world. So what I do is if I have any kind of injury, recently I just tore my hamstring. Actually not long ago. And the second I tore my hamstring, I called my doctor. I said, I need you to come up. I need stem cells in my hamstring. Put the stem cells in the hamstring. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I'm already running. I've already been running. I run about 2 miles a day.
The NFL players that get injured, do they do that too?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Stem cells is a huge thing. I'll tell you right now, if you don't know about stem cells, you should be looking into it. If you have shoulder, knee, hip, any kind of problems, this is the craziest part. I have 20/20 vision. I used to have 20/10 vision. And whenever I take stem cells, my eyesight gets better. It goes back to 20/10 vision.
I used to have 20/10 also, but now I'm like fucking 20/25.
Yeah, something. Whatever it is. But I'll tell you, dude, because of the way that the regenerative properties of stem cells, I'm telling you, it's a miracle drug. 100%. They are expensive.
Yeah,
I do tell people they are expensive.
What's like an IV of that cost?
So like I do CCs, and they're about $2,500 a CC. So, and I do 4 or 5 usually. So you're $10,000 to do one.
But you do it every quarter, and
I do it about every 3 months.
You feel good.
I feel great. I don't really, other than this stupid hamstring that I tore because I was stupid doing sprints, I've never had any injuries, knock on wood.
Sprints, I couldn't fucking sprint.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back to the Logan thing. I just had to ask about stem cells because someone else brought this up too, and I was like,
"Oh, they're great."
I thought I knew what it was, but I explained it a little bit more.
It changes everything. That's
because I'll do the Botox, I'll do the fucking IVs all the time. I'll do all that shit, but it's like I stem cell I've never really flirted with, but I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, you need to do it.
So he sends you a text, and this is somebody who most people would fanboy, do all these things, and you treated him like a person, which he appreciated. Mm-hmm. You didn't take anything from him or want anything. You gave back to him, which he obviously appreciated. And then you said, hey, look, rather than you guys go back there, I've got you. You went above and beyond for him.
Yeah.
And that's what some of these listeners and viewers can pay attention to is when you meet certain people, no matter what their status is, when you can do so much for people, like that'll be a relationship you have for a long
Absolutely.
time. He is going to remember you. He's going to be like, hey, bro, blah, blah, blah. That is beneficial.
Yeah.
You don't know if you'll ever need him for anything, and you don't care if you have him for anything. But the point is he is going to remember you because you went above and beyond. And the more that you do that, the more good things end up happening in your life.
Absolutely. And here's the caveat, and this is the one thing I would say to your listeners. A lot of people would say, well, yeah, I would go above and beyond for Logan Paul, right?
You do it.
I go above and beyond for everybody.
Right.
Every single person that I come in contact with.
I know, you just told me, hey, you want to get in the helicopter? We're just going to fly it up here. I'm like, I don't want to get it right.
Honestly, dude, anybody that I run into, I don't care what your status is. I am willing to go above and beyond for anyone at any time. My favorite thing in the whole world, and you'll see when we go to dinner tonight, my favorite thing in the whole world is every time I go to dinner, I always double whatever I paid in tip. I love it. I don't pick and choose. I always am in a place of abundance, and the mindset of abundance is really what has put me where I'm at recently. And this is, I'm not going to say names because I don't think that it really matters, but I had a really good friend pass away, and I had never met his family or his wife. I sent a text to his wife, and I just said, I don't know what it's like to have to bury your husband, but I know that you shouldn't have to pay for the funeral. You don't know who I am, but I would like to pay for his funeral. So I paid for his funeral. She'd never met me, didn't know anything about me. The point being is if you get into an abundant mindset and you genuinely have every interaction with every person, not the Logan Pauls.
Nope, you can't pick and choose.
No.
Everybody.
With every single person in your life, every single piece of your life gets better. If your interactions change from what can I get out of this person to how can I bring value to you? I mean, listen, I don't think I'll ever get anything out of paying for his funeral. I don't think I'll ever get anything out of doing what I did with Logan Paul. But what I do know is that the abundant mindset that I stay in that allows me to do those things is the same mindset that will change everything in my life and give me what I seek out of this life, which is abundance.
Yeah, that's great. I love how you put that in perspective for people too. That was really good. So let's talk about some of the struggles that maybe you've had in any of your businesses. You said all of them were successful, but clearly we don't learn from success.
No.
And you have learned and evolved so much from being a 21-year-old person opening your first company to being 35 and doing all these great, wonderful things, 34 companies in the books, running this awesome program with Limitless Society, you doing one-on-one coaching, putting on these bomb-ass events. Lessons are learned from, I don't know if you want to call them failure, struggles, but that's where I got better. Yeah. When I'm tested and shit hits and it's like, damn it, my kids are watching, my wife is watching, how I react to this matters. The people that I care about that work for me, that I love, my customers, how I react to this matters. What struggles, issues, problems, failures help molded you who you are today at 35 from 21?
So this is, and I'll preface this with, so that it makes sense for the listener. The reason I say I haven't had any failures is because failure is when you quit.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Now I've made mistakes, and those are the ones that you learn from. Some of my biggest mistakes are not putting people in the correct roles and trying to do every fucking thing I can by myself. That's the greatest mistake that an entrepreneur can make. Stop micromanaging and hovering and trying to do everything. Man, I'm horrible with organization. I'm horrible with numbers. I'm horrible with marketing. But getting someone to do those things and then delegating it to them and then helping manage them, I'm really good at.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize those things out of the gate. I specifically remember a lot of times doing things and it coming out as garbage. And I couldn't understand how I got the company to where it should be, because I didn't have the ability to do those things. And those mistakes led me to go, fuck, fine. I just need to find the right person to do these things and pay them and then oversee them doing it. So my greatest mistakes were in realizing my own inadequacies and then going, all right, dumbass, stop being prideful, stop thinking you can do everything, and start putting the right people in the right positions. And most of the people, probably even the guys that are listening on this podcast, most people are looking at some kind of hurdle that they can't get over themselves. Well, let me give you a good piece of advice. Stop trying to get over the fucking hurdle. Hire somebody to get over the hurdle. Step back and watch them clear 15 hurdles that you couldn't clear one of, because you were too prideful to pull yourself out of that specific race and allow someone who's capable of doing it. So for me, all of my mistakes led into my inadequacies, which taught me I needed help. Yeah. And then that led me to the greatest piece, I think, that I learned from growing up until now, and that's, I would rather have a small piece of a huge pie than a big piece of a small pie.
Yeah.
And that's when things started to change for me. I want 10% of Apple. I don't want 100% of some bullshit company.
We'll take 1% Apple. What the fuck are you talking about? That pie's big enough.
Absolutely.
It's good that you learned that. I remember the time I started to learn that too. I had these security companies. It was mine. And, we talked about the liquidity event I had raising capital, and I had to give up 25% of the company. And it was like, but we're going to make this company, at the time, the goal was a $200 million company. Then it was, a $500 million. Then it was $1 billion company. I'm like, well, fuck. I'll bring on more partners. How do we get to $5 billion, right? Yeah. And so that mindset that people have is I think it's ego driven, it's pride driven, and it is greed driven. And they don't realize that it really does take a village when you get to a certain point in a business. You can be a solo entrepreneur and run that shit till you get to X. But if you want to get to Y and you want to get to fucking Z, you can only be great at a few things.
100%.
We talked about earlier, I didn't know what the fuck EBITDA was.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time, you're out of your fucking mind. I said, dude, it's a fact. It's stated. It's in fucking emails. I said, like, what the fuck is EBITDA?
Yeah.
But yet I built this company, but I had to learn, and I brought someone smarter than me, and that thing said, show me the way. I can show you how to have vision. I can show you how to market. I can show you how to build a sales team, but show me what the fuck EBITDA means. And this guy, show me how to do this. And so I'm a big believer of when you get to a certain spot in business, it becomes the Avengers, not Superman.
Yeah.
Right? Superman's only good to do so much. Then you need a fucking team.
Yeah.
And to realize, one of the best lessons I ever realized is you can't let your ego or your fear or insecurity get in the way of somebody coming in and saying, they're better than that. I mean, damn right they're better than you at that. And they're supposed to be, because that's what makes it great, right?
Well, that's the problem, is that most people get into this prideful state of saying, I should be the best at everything. Bro, Michael Jordan can't play golf. I've seen him. The motherfucker should have never played baseball either.
No, he couldn't play baseball.
He can play one thing, and he crushed it at that one thing. Stop being the person for everything. Start understanding what your strengths are. Let go of your weaknesses. Hire those people and watch how you grow the biggest enterprise or company or corporation you could possibly imagine. My greatest strength right now is that I know that I don't know. Yeah. That's my greatest strength.
That's a great strength.
I will roll into any place and go, you know what? I don't know what I don't know. And I'm okay. I'm only good at 2 or 3 things. The rest of it, I'm going to hand off to professionals who are better so that they can grow what needs to grow. And I will continue to be the captain at the helm, making the big decisions from 30,000 feet.
Yeah, very smart. So one thing I've been really hot on lately is, and I did a show about it recently, is They'll Never Get It. That was the title of it. They'll never get it. And what I mean by that is, and you mentioned a little bit of it, but there's going to be people that judge you from afar. There's going to be people that are like, why would you post your fucking helicopter? Why are you posting your fucking house? Blah, 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 blah. Why would you drive that? Why would you fly that? What the fuck? Well, you're just an asshole. You're a piece of shit. Why do you have a Lambo? Why do you have a $30 or $50 or $100,000 watch? What a piece of shit. And they all judge. And I go back to, and I've been talking about it a lot lately because I've seen it a lot. And I see it with my kids. My kids have nice shit because their dad can afford nice shit. Yeah. And they get picked on at school, or someone runs about, why does she have a G-Wagon? Why does she have a fucking brand new Bronco? Like, because they fucking can. And I tell my kids, and I've been preaching this, is some people will just never fucking get it. Yeah. Some people are okay being here, running their mouth, talking shit, and they don't know what it's like to make $1 million, $5 million, $50 million. They don't know what it's like to build $1 billion business or lose $1 billion business. They don't know what it's like to earn. You earned every fucking thing you got. It wasn't given to you. No. You earned everything. You put the blood, you put the sweat, you put the equity in, you fucking took hours away from your family, from your wife, from everything you could do to build what you wanted. You deserve it, but there's always going to be people that don't get it, and they're going to judge you. And I always go back, motherfucker, if you could afford a helicopter, you'd buy one. If you could afford a Lambo, you'd fucking get one. Absolutely. If you could afford to do this and this and this, you would, but you can't, so shut the fuck up. Yeah. What do you say to that?
You know what, dude? I've learned a really, really good principle. I think for anybody who is listening to the podcast, if you go to my social media and you want to have a fun time, just read the comments. I, for some reason, have more haters than most. And I think it's because I genuinely don't care enough to not post the things.
Come in, that's why.
That, you know, and I post a lot of my beautiful life because I fucking love my life.
By the way, I love your social. You're showing your kids out here.
The best.
And the pony.
Absolutely.
I'm like showing my wife, I'm like, look, he's such a good family dude. And the dog's here. Like, we're loving it. Like, you want to go ahead, finish.
But most people see that, and all they see is, oh, he's just being so prideful. He's just being so, oh, he must think he's so great. And the truth is, and this is what I've learned to people who don't understand, is it doesn't really matter what people say, good or bad, if you genuinely are happy. If you genuinely love yourself, if you genuinely like yourself. Gary Vee used to say, you shouldn't put a lot of stock in what people say either way, whether it's good or bad. You know, he would say, I don't care if you compliment me because it doesn't mean anything to me. Just as much as I don't care if you talk shit because it doesn't mean anything to me. I have learned to love myself so fucking much that it doesn't matter what is said online, in person. I mean, they never say it to your face, right? I've never had a hater.
Kiss your ass.
Never in my life. I've had haters shake my hand
Me too.
and later message me and say, "You're such an idiot. I shook your hand. You didn't even know." And I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. You're a fucking idiot. But the thing is I've learned I just don't care. Because how I feel about me and the happiness that I have is so much greater than anything that your opinion offers to me. And so for people, because a lot of people struggle with hate, right? Like especially new entrepreneurs, new people with money, new people with success, they hear hate and they're like, "Oh, I just want everybody to like me." Fuck that. All you should be worried about is, do you like you? And if you like you and you're happy, the rest of it doesn't fucking matter, dude. You talk about me posting my video of my daughter walking with her pony through the front yard, right? Oh, dude, I had so many people, "Oh, you think you're so fun." And I'm just like, bro, you're sitting in grandma's basement naked eating Cheetos, talking shit about me while I'm here with my beautiful family in my mansion enjoying a pony walking through my kitchen. You really think I give a fuck about anything that you have to say? No. I don't, man. And it's the same reason I don't put any stock in compliments, because I don't put any stock in insults.
You know, it's so funny you said this guy's a jerk and shook his hand. Two things. One, I think, and I'll go a step further, it's not even giving a fuck, but the fact that, and as long as you love yourself and you're confident, you're great. But the fact that you're relevant. I always go back to, I tell my kids, I tell anybody that I run into, I'm coaching them, I'm like, look, if they're talking about you, you're relevant.
Yeah.
I'd rather be relevant than irrelevant. I don't give a fuck if I'm relevant for the wrong shit. I was telling you, like, if you Google me, some fuckstick, in Texas, I won't say names, it's like, "Oh, if you Googled you," I'm like, "Yeah, so I fucking Googled me. I'm aware of what the media bullshit is saying. But obviously you needed to fucking Google me and you're paying attention because you're relevant. And when you're relevant to me, that's what matters." And I tell my kids, like, if people are talking about you, they're not bettering their lives. They're wasting every ounce, every energy, every second doing this and hating on things that they didn't get. And that's why I go back to, sometimes they'll never get it. I don't know if I told you the story of the tiger and the donkey. Did I tell you that story? Okay, I saw it on TikTok, so it's not mine. But the fucking tiger and donkey are arguing about the grass being blue. Yeah. And the donkey's like, "The grass is blue." And the tiger's like, "The fuck it is, it's green." And they're arguing. They go to the lion, the king of the jungle. And the fucking donkey jumps up and goes, "Lion, the grass is fucking blue. Will you tell him the grass is blue?" And the lion says, "The grass is blue." And the lion the tiger looks at him weird, and the donkey goes, "He's been mocking me. I've been telling him that. I'd like you to punish him." He says, "Okay, I'll punish him." Donkey goes off into the fucking sunset. Tiger goes, "Okay, lion, I'm going to take my punishment. But why am I getting punished here if the grass is clearly green?" And the lion said, "The grass is green, but you're getting punished because you, a tiger, a very sophisticated, strong animal here in the kingdom, are wasting your fucking time arguing with a jackass, a donkey, on arguing about something so stupid rather than bettering your life. That sometimes in life, you can't change what people fucking think. You can't change how they're going to perceive you, what their thoughts are, so there's no reason wasting your energy when you're trying to better yourself, the people around you, the people in your group, the people that you want to elevate, to wasting your time on fucking jackasses out there who don't give a shit.
Well, dude, that's the truth. Like, you talk about it. Everybody always,
it's a great story, though, right?
It's great. Everybody always talks about, like, "Well, I can't wait till I have haters. When you have haters, you're doing something right." And then when that time rolls up, you watch these same people go, "Wow, this motherfucker's saying this. I'm going to message him back. I'm going to do this." And you're like, you're going to waste your energy on that?
Yeah.
You're not ready to be where you want to be, bro. Because when you get ready to be where you want to be, none of that shit fucking matters anymore. And nobody cares. Dude, my favorite thing in the whole world, people say to me, "Well, this guy says he's got this much money." I said, "Let me tell you a secret. Those who have real money don't talk about how much money they have.
Right.
Those who have real success don't talk about how much success they have. You know why? Because they don't give a fuck about what you think and your opinion about how much money they have."
Right.
And it's the same exact thing with any type of hate. You're mad at me because I'm successful and you're hoping I'm going to engage in an argument? I don't give a fuck. You look where I'm at? I don't care. Nothing you say is going to get me so riled up that I go, you know what? I have all these things, but I need to prove to this dipshit that I have them. Fuck out of here with that, dude. The truth is those who have those things genuinely, like happiness, they don't ever engage with that kind of shit.
They'll never get it. Well, sometimes when people think they actually have haters, they're like, they don't really have fucking haters. They have like a family member or a friend. They didn't like really make it. Like, I'm like, talk to me when fucking 12 news stations are telling you you're a fucking crook and they're putting a picture of you in front of a Lambo all over the place saying you're like this, like that's fucking hate, right? Or talk to me when somebody's blackballing you from speaking or doing this. Like there's real hate out there. And then there's like, oh, well, my neighbor thinks I'm an asshole for buying this. And the fact that somebody wants haters, to me, is the wrong thing.
No.
It's going to come with the territory, because what it is too many people play, and you're talking about your dad. My dad's the same way. My dad was a 9-to-5, work at AT&T, blue collar, got to retire. He had his opportunity to jump on a unicorn where a buddy of his was going to open up a business. He said, no, I've got 2 kids. It was my younger brother and sister who have asthma. I'm going to ride this out and retire. He did that. Now he works for me and some of the companies I built because they gave him a bullshit package. But I told myself as a young man, kind of like you did, I said, listen, when that unicorn comes by, I'm fucking jumping on it. I'm going to play, most people play to not lose. I'm going to play to fucking win. And you talked about it. You have to play to win. When you try to play it safe and you don't want to take the risk and you don't want to put effort out there, money out there, invest in yourself, take chances on yourself, you're only going to be ordinary instead of extraordinary.
Absolutely.
You agree?
Dude, 100% I agree. This is the advice that I give to people who have that kind of mentality. And, you talk about like being worried about the haters. I had somebody ask me, I don't know, it was 6 months ago. He said, who do you, outside of presidents, who do you remember 100 years ago? I was like, I don't know.
Hitler?
Yeah, but that wasn't even 100 years ago. Hitler was less than that.
Fuck.
Nobody.
Billy the Kid?
Yeah, but dude, okay, but in 100 years from today, nobody's going to give a fuck about you.
I know.
And all these haters, it doesn't matter. So realistically, if in 100 years from today, nothing you do or say is really going to affect anything, why not live the fucking life you want and fuck the haters? Forget the haters. And then, dude, you can even go all the way down, let's say 50 years ago. Who do you know from 50 years ago? You just don't. Now, there are some people who are extraordinary, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't remember anybody from 100 years ago, that means you get really 100 years at this shit. And then after that, you're fucking gone. Stop worrying about the haters because it doesn't fucking matter anyways.
Yeah, I'd never looked at it that way. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I've interviewed Sean, he's your friend, earlier today. And that show comes out later as well. But one thing that he said, and he said just, and I listen, people say this shit all the time. Imagine if this is your last day, do all that. But he went pretty deep in it and said that one of his fears is that he has all the time is that he is fearful of something happening to his kids. And then he's fearful of being in his last hours, knowing he'll never get to hold them again. He'll never get to speak to and help people again. He'll never get to do another sales call. He'll never get to watch another game, never get to put on another hat, never get to do any of these things in life that matter. Hold his kids, kiss his wife, do anything. And that last couple hours, will he have regret? And I think when you put it like that, anybody puts it like that, when you think about, I'm real big on, and you just mentioned it earlier about making decisions and sitting in things, people got to act fast, make decisions and ask for someone to help instead of sit in the same problem, be crazy. I'm a big believer of if anything you do, you should never have regret on. And anything you do, it's not the wrong decision. It is your decision.
Yeah.
You pick A or B, and then you make the most of that. Of course you can fucking pivot, but I'm really quick on making decisions. I mean, as we get to know each other more, Keaton, you'll see like, damn, this motherfucker doesn't wait. He's just pop, make a decision. Because I'm the type that I'm like, look, I'm fucking going. Like you talked about, you're on a plane. Like I make a decision, and if I got regrets after, I don't ever look back. I look forward. I go, fuck that. This was my decision I'm supposed to make, and I go. Has that cost me some problems? Absolutely. Fuck yeah. Have I made some mistakes not thinking about things? Yes, but I don't want to be that person. And too many of these listeners, probably people you coach, I know people I coach, there's some of them out there that they sit there and they fucking sit in this, do I make a decision or do I not? If I make this decision, if I'm only going to regret it and think about it, I'm not given this decision or this chance 100%. I'm too stuck in this fucking quicksand of what do I do? What do I do? Well, should I have done that? Should I have done that? And they just don't execute the decision.
Well, dude, that's analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
You literally analyze so much you become paralyzed. And that's what a lot of people do. I would tell you, I did a podcast yesterday. Actually, I did 3 podcasts yesterday. On one of the podcasts, he asked me, he said, what is it that you would attribute any success that you have? Like, where does it derive from? And I told him, when my father passed away, I sat with him the last few hours and we had really good conversations, and I listened to the deathbed regrets, right? And from that time until today, I have never allowed a day to pass that I don't think about death, both the death of myself, the death of my spouse, the death of my children. And in that thought, it allows me to have the perspective that no matter what decision I make, if I do it in that perspective, I will always walk away without having any regret. And the truth is I don't know if you can send a whole life through without regret, but I damn sure know up to this point in my life, I don't have any regrets. I don't have anything that I look back and say, damn it, I wish I would have done that differently. Because at the end of the day, the life that I have, and I take this very prideful when I say this, the life I have is the exact fucking life I want. Exactly. To the T. Who I'm married to, the children that I have, the home that I live in, the friends that I have, the money that I make, the things that I do. This life is exactly the one that I want. So it's hard for me to look back and go, oh yeah, I have tons of regret, because whatever it is I did has led me to right here, right now. And I again would attribute that to the fact that I do think about death often, because I don't want to, like my father, sit on my deathbed and rattle off a ton of regrets. I want to rattle off all the cool fucking memories I have.
Yeah, you can't put a price on memories, right?
No.
You just can't. You know, you were talking about, we were talking a little bit before about, you know, your daughter being on a pony here in the house and haters running their fucking mouth, and I thought it was so cool. And, you know, the trips, the extravagant trips that a lot of people want to take. I have even friends that are like, why would you spend that to go on that trip? Because, motherfucker, it's a memory my kids will have forever. Because I don't want to be laying in my deathbed like, I should have taken those kids and rented that bomb-ass house in Turks. Yeah. The fuck? No, I did do that, right? Shouldn't have bought a private plane or did a private trip on a plane to go this. No, I fucking did do that. There's reasons that we do things because those memories matter. I'm a big believer you can't put a cost on memories. Mm-mm. Like, sometimes you don't want to piss, you know, would I buy $1 million watch? No. Do I buy a $100,000 watch? Absolutely. But I'd never buy $1 million watch. Not that I couldn't afford it. I could have. I just can't fathom that I want to have that. I don't hate people that have it. I see McGregor's watch, fucking sick ass watch. I just couldn't spend the money on it because I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to wear $1 million watch. Yeah. That doesn't make me wrong. But I'll spend $1 million on fucking buying a house in Turks or renting a private jet and going to Turks 3 times a year. Absolutely. Why? Because I'll remember that forever. A piece of watch, I won't remember that when I go in my deathbed. Yeah. That's why. That's the difference. So that's how I look at things. But I didn't know that about your dad, that you sat there listening to that. And that's important to have that perspective and see that live of his regrets. That's in you. That is burnt into you now 100%. To live that way, which is important. And I think more listeners, more viewers out there, they have to be able to put things in perspective to make those decisions and not have regret. They've got to be able to start putting effort in and not have, you know, where they're stuck in that quicksand and not making those moves that they want to make. Last but not least, before we wrap up, I want to ask you about, you know, you said this is the life that you want to live and these are your goals. What in the next 5 years would you like to see Limitless Society? Because I know you said you want to do this for the rest of your life, and shows where do you and that want to be?
You know, because Limitless Society is going to be something I do for the rest of my life, mentoring, coaching, and helping people.
Because 5 years from now, you'll be 40.
Yeah. 5 years, I'll be 40. I would like to have the biggest impact on the entrepreneurial class in the world. That would be my goal. And that impact is starting businesses, scaling businesses, selling businesses. And in that, and I think this is probably what's most important to me, I want to have the most impact on the biggest crowd I can possibly touch with this one idea. And that is, I genuinely believe in God. I believe that God is our Father and that we are His children. If that's the case, then we have the ability and the potential to do and be anything that we want in this life, 100%. I want to help people understand that principle, comprehend that principle, and then actually begin to believe that principle. If I can do that, if I can leave this earth with millions of people being convinced of their own potential and capabilities, I'm going to the grave as happy as I could possibly be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. One more thing, and I appreciate you explaining your faith on the podcast. I'm also a man of God. Pray with my son every day. So I appreciate that. A lot of people are scared to talk about that, right? A lot of people are.
Not me, man,
not you. And I
all.
love that, right? And so one of the things, I was at church for Father's Day, and the message there was talking about, and it hit home, right? And I listened to Stephen Furtick from Elevation. Okay, so he lived right down the road from us. When he first started his church, we gave them the help chip in for them to open their church. So I know them. He's my favorite. So that's why you like E.T. You like people that get on the stage and they're like, bam, let's go, right? He's that way. Yeah. So we went to Elevation on Father's Day, and usually I just listen to him or listen to the podcast thing. We're sitting there with my old man, my family, my sister, and my brother. I got an okay relationship with him. It's a little testy with my kids, all this shit. And, my wife has to go deal with something with the grandkid. And so I'm sitting there, and I always find a message. I always feel like God has a way. You're at a place for a reason. You're not at a place because you decided to go there. This is what's meant to be, and you're following your path. That's my belief. So I'm sitting there, and they're talking about patience. And they're talking about the message of, as entrepreneurs or as a father or as a husband or as a person in this world, and they said entrepreneurs, made me feel good. They talked about how we get upset that we're putting in work and we're putting in effort and we're not getting the results we want right now. You heard me a little bit ago, like, man, I feel like I'm just starting, da-da-da-da-da. And then I have to remind myself, because in that message they said, listen, if God wants you to walk to the destination, you're going to walk.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to get frustrated running. There's no reason to get angry and upset or quit because you're trying to run and you're not getting the results. He wants you to walk for a reason. There's going to be reasons why it's taking this amount of time to get things done. You have to be able to walk and do it. And they were telling the story of, I don't remember who, but they were telling the story of how it was 80-year-old, it was when John was born, John's parents in the Bible. They were talking about how the dad was almost 80 years old and the mom was like 65 or 70. And they wanted a child so long, and they were praying for a child so long, but that wasn't the plan. And they were getting upset that they quit praying. And so the angel came down and said, look, this is how this is going to go, and you're going to have this child. And it was John the Baptist. So my point to that is when we sit here and we think about this, if I can leave the listeners with anything today, is the success in the life that you want. Sure, there's times that you wanted it faster. Mm-hmm. Sure, there's times that you wanted to go quicker. But God had a plan for you to go through all of the battles to get to the blessings you needed to at his pace. Yep. You can't change his pace. You can either have faith and believe his pace and continue the path, or you can just not and live in agony.
Frustrated as shit.
Right.
I tell people this all the time. The number one thing I get from people is, how quickly can I become a millionaire? How quickly can I find success? And I always say the number one common denominator to success is time. Yeah. It's time. Because it takes fucking time to build anything worth a shit. It just does.
It does.
And you even have the question like, well, Logan Paul started Prime, right? And it's just killing, right? Do you know how long it took Logan Paul to become Logan Paul?
Forever.
YouTube
all day, every day.
YouTube for years. Yeah. Again, you want to be successful, but you're not willing to take the time that it's going to take to become successful. Nothing that's worth a shit is going to come like that. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And we see that.
I go back to when I opened the solar company. The first year we did 3 million sales, lost money. Second year did 10 million, lost money. And I'm like, what am I doing? But then fast forward, it crushed it. Then lost it, but that's all part of the journey, right? Yeah. That's the battle to get to the blessings. And last but not least, I'm inspired about Limitless Society because hopefully, I can learn some things from you and I can add value to you, whether it be marketing or any doors, equity, private equity, whatever. But I like the relationship that we have. I appreciate you coming on the show. The hospitality here has been fantastic. You're real. I keep saying this. A few people I've had on the show. You're the real person that you are that people see on social media. you're the real person in person. So I appreciate because a lot of people aren't.
No.
And you know that. You'll meet them and be like, motherfucker, you're so different.
Yeah.
Right? And a couple of them we know together, and I'm like, that fucking person isn't that person in real life. And so I'm very happy that you are who you are in all aspects, and you don't change. Whether you're at home, whether you're in business, whether you're on a podcast, or whether you're coaching, it's the same. So appreciate that. And where can everybody find you?
So the easiest place to find me is Instagram, _muscle on Instagram.
Such a great fucking name.
and then if people are interested in doing the Limitless Society, it's actually limitlesssociety.com.
Okay, perfect.
And
we'll have all the links on there. Thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bam!